morning. Torrential rain from Storm Gabrielle this morning caused flooding across the Valencia, Catalonia and Aragon regions. With as much as 100 litres of rain per square metre falling in just a few hours, police said they had to rescue several people from their vehicles. One of the hardest hit areas was the town of Aldaya in Valencia, where the La Saleta ravine burst its banks, sending water flowing through the central streets. However, anti-flood barriers held. Another river also overflowed in Zaragoza province late yesterday. Classes and non-essential activities were suspended in more than 60 municipalities across the region, affecting some 25,000 children and their families. Transport was also disrupted as train lines reported delays, and authorities urged for residents to avoid travel when possible. The government this morning prohibited the transit of US military aircraft and vessels carrying arms, ammunition or equipment destined for Israel through its bases at Rota and Morón de la Frontera, so sources familiar with the functioning of the US-Spain Joint Committee confirmed. They stressed that both remain sovereign bases under Spanish command and that all activity requires Madrid's authorization. The move comes as Washington continues to supply the bulk of weaponry used by Israel in its offensive on Gaza, where more than 66,000 people have been killed. Although Spain doesn't inspect US cargo directly, officials argue that concealing such transfers would undermine trust between allies. Earlier this month, the US State Department described as deeply concerning 9 measures announced by Pedro Sanchez's government to increase pressure on Israel, including the denial of Spanish airspace to flights transporting defence material to the country. Meanwhile, the government has decided to join the 34-nation coalition known as the Hague Group, led by South Africa and Colombia, which aims to impose new economic sanctions on Israel and end its impunity for atrocities committed in the Gaza Strip. The decision was announced on the sidelines of the United Nations General Assembly meetings in New York. Madrid also confirmed its participation in the donor group responsible for financing the Palestinian Authority, alongside countries such as France and the United Kingdom. The coalition's programme includes a range of measures, such as banning the export of dual-use equipment to Israel, prohibiting the transit of military shipments through member states' ports, and terminating public contracts with institutions that support the occupation. That's the latest from TRE. I'm Bob James.